YouTube. So here back again with some analysis, this time our weekly analysis on indices and also commodities and also a couple of the crypto pairs. Really only looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum for the crypto pairs for our supply and demand zones, as I believe the other cryptocurrencies are just a little bit too volatile. So looking further here, we've got all of my indices commodities listed in the right hand column here. So we're going to just quickly run through them, see any zones that are coming up, and yeah, we can go from there. So the VIX, obviously, just look at this to see how much volatility is in the market. I don't really pay much attention to this chart, to be honest. However, when it is very low, supply and demand zones are not as violent. They don't move as violently, so usually it'll be a slow burner for price to get to the targets. But anyway, so we'll go into the dollar index just to start us off. So at the moment, we are probably coming into some small demand, but it's already been tested. Demand that we would never take as a trade, but it's always good to just have a look at this chart just to make sure where we are in relation to everything else in the market. So if I look here, so we've got 4-hour demand below. I'll have a quick look at that on the lower time frame. So 4-hour zone, drop, base, rally. Really good, strong drop into the area and a rally out of it, which is good. And then if we go into bar replay mode, we can have a look at the specifics of the zone. So you can see here, we've got a nice distribution of price, and it immediately left the zone and never returned. So that means this is probably quite a strong zone that we could probably look to buy from. It's also very good to as well match up if you're using the dollar index. It's quite good to match up with other pairs that are dollar related. So if maybe I'll just say NZD USD, say that's coming into a supply zone and the dollar index is coming into a demand zone, they match up quite nicely. So it probably means that trade has got a higher probability of working out. So at the moment, we don't really have anything else apart from this hourly zone higher up here. So we've got a nice drop, base, drop. So yeah, two zones that we were looking at for price to move into. For gold, there hasn't really been too many zones to be going after as of late. And this 12-hour zone, I would never take it. It's just good to have on the chart. We didn't have a big enough drop into this price area of consolidation. We did have a good move away from it, so I do expect a bounce to maybe come back down here and then continue on higher. So we've got a nice 2-hour zone down here, one on top of the other really. So we are expecting this to appreciate even further in value after a drop in price. And you can see here in the lower time frames, price has consolidated nicely with distribution, nice leg in and a huge leg out. So that's very positive for us. This lower zone, I'm actually going to remove this because it's already been tested, but it's also good to have on the chart. Okay, so at the moment, nothing really. On gold, silver is the same. There's only a zone higher up, which is of interest, but again, it's probably not the biggest drop, base drop. It's an okay zone, not one we're going to take. Moving into the platinum market, so we had a drop base rally, 7-hour time frame. So this was a nice zone that bounced into and then moved up into our supply. You can see here, if you move the supply down, this has touched it right on the money. Not a trade that we were taking though, because the push away from the zone was not big enough. We only got, what's that? Let's just call it $6.35 of movement, and the zone itself was $5.2. So we can't take that zone as a sell trade, even though it did work out nicely. The next best zone higher up of supply is up in this area of 1020. Moving on into the palladium markets, not really much here either, to be honest, apart from this 4-hour zone below. One that we will be looking at closely. So we move into the lower time frames here. We can have a look to see how tidy the zone is. See here, it's a very tidy zone. You can move that up there. Nice distribution of price back into the 4-hour. I can see here we have accelerated very quickly out of the area. So that's a zone we'll be looking at closely. Into the Brent crude oil market. This has been a really challenging market for us in the past few months. Not really been very many zones. As you can see, there's nothing marked on the chart, I think, until way lower. In fact, I've just deleted them off the chart. So yeah, not been a great market, to be honest. Go into the 1 hour, see if there's anything been happening. Nothing really. It's just been quite choppy, so we're not even looking at that. To natural gas as well. A few zones added onto the chart here, but we're going to skip over this because I don't really trade this market either. Into the S&P index, so had a really nice bounce from, I think it was an hourly zone. Yeah, an hourly zone here the other day. So was that on Monday? So that stretched quite far. I'll be honest, the our take profit was only up to here, so for a 6R. But just showing for an example that this price has gone way further. Again, we'll look into this zone here and we'll take a look at how nice and tidy it is. So we'll just tidy this up, make sure it's absolutely exact. See, price moved away from the zone and didn't retest it. The next retest was when we had our entry. A nice rally, base rally. Okay, moving into the NASDAQ. Nothing really here for us to talk about, I think, until much lower down. Yeah, down in 19,255, that's probably our next best zone. Everything else is a little bit choppy. Moving into the US 30, or the Dow Jones index. Again, here is another tricky market. Not really been very many tidy zones. Obviously, this daily one down here was worked out very nicely. To be honest, it's probably more like a 12-hour zone. Yeah, it's a 12-hour zone. So that worked out nicely. And then prices moved into this area here, not a zone. Not something that we would call a zone, but it still is something the price could bounce from. I'll go into that early time frame, just see if we've got anything of value. And looking left, down and left, there's nothing really there. Let's see, in this 4-hour time frame, move price to there. Again, not really thinking about taking anything here. Very choppy. In fact, I'm going to remove this from the time from the chart. Into the Russell 2000. Tried selling from this area of supply up here. I'll show you the zone. Zone is very nice and tidy. However, one thing we would say that it was a more risky zone, because you can see here the two consolidation candles, or the basing candles, are actually out with the entire consolidation. Go to the 5-minute because I can't go any further back. You can see here price has dropped out of it and retested it. So that kind of shows to us that some of the orders have already been taken from that high position. However many months ago that was. What was that, back in April? So that was a loss on this trade here. But we do have a nice zone further down, which we will be putting on. So 2054.5 is a good area for us. Moving into the Canadian index. Again, not really much for us to look at here at all until lower down. That's a really high quality demand zone on the 3-hour time frame below, and that's at 1287.87. Into the DAX, got a nice bounce off this 1-hour demand zone. We didn't take this though, even though it absolutely flew. But the reason I'll show you why we didn't take it is because price has already come back and retested this zone, so we didn't take the trade. So we're looking for clean moves where we have a nice push, a basing, and a nice push out of that area. It's essentially just retests of patterns. So we're trying to find out where the orders are still going to be, or the highest probability where the orders are still going to be lying in the market. So onto the Bund. So with a 4-hour time frame, we had a really nice push from this 4-hour zone. Took our profits around about here, 131. So I think that was about a 3.5 hour, if I remember correctly. And then we've got a 12-hour zone here as well, not one we're taking. It's just a little bit big for my liking. Um, but yeah, we might get a wee bounce off here. But I'd imagine the Bund is probably going to appreciate in value. If we go back into the weekly, well, maybe not. It could continue this downward trend, to be honest. That's actually probably more likely. It will probably more likely continue down through the demand zone that we bounce from. Don't do the DAX 30 just because it's pretty much the same as the DAX 40. To the UK 100. See here, we've got a 1 hour zone, not one we're taking. As you can see, it's not highlighted in yellow, but it's one to keep in the chart. Say, for example, we boosted way past here into a supply zone, it would have been one of our targets. So the next zone below is this hourly zone that we're going to look at. Go into this smaller time frame so you can see the structure of the zone. See here, nice rally, bit of distribution, and a very strong push away from the zone. So that tells me that there is a high probability that there are orders still there. Higher up, is there any supply? No quality supply anyway. So we do expect this market to appreciate in value. Japanese index, or the Nikkei. See here, coming into a daily zone, going down to the hourly time frame, it looks very nice distribution. However, I think with this one, price is already, yeah, you can see here, price is already retested the zone. It's pushed way out of it, come back, tested, collected more orders and gone. So this is not a trade for us, although it probably is a trade for some people, but we're not battling with potentials. We're wanting more solid concrete evidence of actually getting to take a trade. This one again, you can see this 1 hour zone, 2 hour zone, it's probably a 2 hour zone. Yeah, it's already come back and retested it, so we're not going to mess about with that either. This is a potential zone though. Here, move back in time, but yeah, again, price has had a lot of competition to try and get back into that area because there's a lot of orders in there, so we're not going to take that one either. Higher down, further down, had a drop base rally, but this again has come back and tested it. The only saving grace with this zone here, the 3 hour, which is why we'd probably take it, because it's only just come back and tested it and it moved away very quickly from the area. To the Aussie index, so price just missed our demand zone down here on the hourly time frame, which is a little bit frustrating. I mean, I bet you if I go into lower time frame, it's just me being lazy why we didn't get an entry. Again, it has been tested, so, but it did push away and then came back again and only just came into the zone. I wonder if that has actually been tested on our time frames. Let's have a look. No, so the order's still there probably, but again, because it's come down so much, it's probably not going to be one that we will take. This zone here, which is a 4 hour zone, very good strong zone there, one that we will take when price does come back to it. And yeah, there is no supply above at the moment that we would be taking. This price is at all-time highs, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, okay. Into Euro 50 or the stocks index for the European Union. So we had supply above here in the 6 hour time frame, then we had demand down here. We didn't take this demand because of this red candle here. If that red candle wasn't there, we would have taken it, but we probably would have been stopped out anyway because price did come through it a little bit and then go. 6 hour though, worked out very nicely. So that was probably about a 3 hour in that trade. Let's see. Into the CAC. So we are getting a bounce from this hourly supply. I have not put this trade on though, because I don't really have very much room, because this could be a bounce from this potential demand. So this supply is a little bit stuck, I would say. But again, if we go into the lower time frame, we can have a look at the structure of this. So we'll start in the 5 minute. You see here it's a nice distribution of price. And then one thing here, it's only just come back and retested and not really eaten into the supply that much. So could bounce, but not one that was taken this morning. Okay, into the Italian index. So 4-hour demand below. Not the best looking demand, and it has been tested already. So we'll be able to see here, it's come back, tested it, come back. Probably not one that we'll take. 3-hour demand below that. We'll go into the 3-hour time frame so you can actually see the zone. Into the 1-hour time frame. That's where our entry point is going to be. So this is a really nice zone actually. This is one we're definitely going to take. Move this because that is, I'll keep it on it, why not? And then higher up we have some supply, but the supply is not a supply that we would take as a trade. Pretty sure it's a 2-hour, it's a 1-hour zone. Again, I'm like a broken record here. We've had price test the zone already. And then on this one as well, price has already tested the zone to make that other supply. So one supply turned into another supply. So nothing we're going to take here, but it is potential to have the turn. And the Swiss index, only thing we have on this index is this hourly demand below, and also I think there's a 4-hour demand much further down, a 2-hour demand much further down as well. I'll go quickly and have a look. Again, this isn't the best demand though, because we've got a lot of price action to the left of this, so this could potentially be the entire zone rather than that individual pocket. So it could be more like that rather than the 1 hour, but we'll see. We'll wait till price comes into the area. Spanish index. Let's see what we've got here. Oh, a nice bounce from this morning's demand, but didn't take that trade. Don't trade this in the London session. Hourly demand below. Price has been bouncing off this daily demand as well. So maybe finally it's going to have a breakout, maybe hit this supply, come back down to demand and then go. We will see. I don't really predict the markets. I don't really care about where the markets are turning. I care about where the zones are and how the zones are and where the zones are placed. Predicting the market is just a little bit silly in my opinion. We're all about just placing trades on where we think orders are going to be and where price is high, where the highest probability that price is going to turn from. So again, Spanish index, this zone on the 4-hour time frame, not going to take that. It's already been tested on the lower time frame. The hourly zone is one we would take though. I don't think it's been retested from memory. Oh, has it? Only just. But again, it's not really pushed away hard from the zone, so it's probably not one we're going to take. To the Netherlands index, or the Dutch index, I should say. Nothing really quality on this chart either, so we'll leave that alone. Hong Kong. So this is a zone up here. Not going to use it. Not a quality zone. And also down here, these aren't any really quality zones. They're pretty poor. So no trades on there. No trades in the Singapore either. Singapore index. And then I don't really trade the Norwegian index or anything like that. They're just on here for the sake of being on here. Same with the Chinese and the South African. Can have a look at uranium though. So I'm actually in a long-term buy for uranium. Really looking for price to go to around about 50. Okay, moving into the crypto markets, we'll have a quick look at Bitcoin on the daily time frame. Nothing on the daily, but this weekly has a nice zone. So what we're going to do is push that up actually. This is where price could go on a huge bear run, potentially. From 52,995, I'd get in at 53k though. It's probably the safest bet. Because what happened here is we had this massive drop off from some shock in the market. I think it was something to do with a company had owed people a lot of Bitcoin or something like that, and then they didn't have any money to pay them out, and then now they have had money to pay them out. So there's and all these people who didn't get their money back are now all selling their Bitcoin. So there's like a shock of supply in the market, which is why it's kind of dumped. I still think though there's huge demand down here. We'll probably get a new low into this area and then go. There is also demand down here as well. So there's quite a lot of demand in the market for Bitcoin at the moment. You can see here as well, this 4 hour zone worked really nicely from the highs, but I'm going to delete that just now because that zone is now invalid because it's been eaten up. This zone up here as well, it is a zone, but it's not one we would ever take. So I'm just going to remove it because it's a bit confusing for everybody. And then this zone as well worked really nicely. I think this was an hourly zone. Yeah, this hourly zone worked superbly. Okay, quit there, and I'll remove that. So really, we're looking for that new low to buy Bitcoin at 53k. 53k is your round number. There is no quality supply higher up. I think there's going to be a big bull run in the market here, so one to definitely look out for. Move into Ethereum as well. Have a look at that. Let's see. So we've got daily demand below on Ethereum. We have some supply above too. This is actually decent supply that we would sell from. So Ethereum could actually drop further than Bitcoin. This was a demand that didn't work out. That's because of the shock in the market. Everything kind of just moves with Bitcoin, really. Move that up. In fact, that's not even a zone for us. And this weekly zone has already been tested as well, so not a zone for us to actually take a trade from. Really looking at this, there's not very solid demand below for Ethereum. Let's have a look though. We'll go into the lower time frames. 8 hour time frame. Nothing really. It's quite choppy. So that's going to go there. This monthly though is something to look out for. If price comes down to the 1700 region. But yeah, I'm just looking here. I don't think there's really much for us to go from on Ethereum. So we're just going to leave that market alone. And then I'll just show you XRP. We had a nice bounce from our demand zone on XRP. Not one we took though. Just showing you the results of the trade. And that's it. So yeah, we'll do this weekly analysis on both the FX pairs and the indices, and I'll give you updates on all of our trades that we're taking, all of our swing trades anyway, and also look out for the daily day trading London session. This week was a little bit tough. I think we had 3 losses and 1 winner this week, so I think we were down 1 hour this week, but not to worry, there's always next week to bounce back. So yeah, hope everyone has a great weekend.